Is now with more Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, who's a Fox News strategic analyst. Ralph, good to see you tonight. And so,
hi, Megan.
As we're all focused on Iraq, and day by day we see this ISIS take more territory, and we see more and more Americans get out of that country. Where do we stand on Iraq tonight?
Well, Iraq has come apart. No one is going to put Humpty Dumpty together. Secretary Kerry and the State Department need to get with reality. I mean, it's just this dream that somehow there's going to be a coalition of Sunnis and Kurds and Shias that's going to save Iraq. Iraq is over. It's done. Finished. Basta. So concentrate on America's interest, not on the al-Maliki government, the Baghdad government's interest. What is in America's interest?
What's the answer to that?
The answer is to prevent the emergence of the first terrorist state in world history. This ISIS has a clear goal, and they're well on their way to achieving that goal of establishing a caliphate spanning much of Syria, much of Iraq, and it would be a terrorist state. So it's absolutely criminal that this president has done nothing and is still doing nothing. And oh, by the way, this gesture, Obama, as you know, Megan, he doesn't really like to make hard decisions. He likes to make gestures. So sending 300 U.S. advisors to Iraq cannot make a difference, but it certainly can put our people in harm's way for nothing.
What of these 300 advisors? I mean, the president's defense, this is a hard decision to make. You see partisans all over the board on this, Ralph, because so many, even staunch Republicans, even some of the neocons who really wanted us to go in Iraq, seem to have pause about us going back into Iraq now.
Well, I'm not for us sending the 82nd Airborne Division into Iraq tomorrow. But let's see what air power can really do. I mean, the Air Force and the contractors are always telling us how wonderful air power is. And frankly, air power can't solve this. But it sure as hell could hurt the terrorists. And the fact that, and I can tell you, that we heard earlier from Catherine, is absolutely true. Intelligence has been watching this build up, watching ISIS build up for months and months.
The White House claims it was caught off guard.
The White House is lying. This president is a coward. He won't make tough decisions to defend America. And, it's just, at some point, yes, it's a hard decision. Presidents are supposed to make hard decisions. Bush was derided for saying, I'm the decider. But, Megan, that's what a president is. And I am not for willy-nilly foreign interventions everywhere in the world. But when you see the emergence of an al-Qaeda offshoot terrorist state in the heart of the Middle East that threatens our interests and will threaten Americans, and our president does nothing whatsoever except send those 300 advisors, some of whom are in Baghdad, probably safe, some of whom are in Erbil up in the Kurdish areas, they'll be safe. But they're brave guys, they're special operators. But those guys, when we send them out in teams on the ground, the one thing they could do is help call in airstrikes. But the Iraqis will not defend them. They don't have the numbers and strength to defend themselves. And mark my words, if ISIS were able to grab one or several of our special operators, and they will try, if they were able to, our guys aren't going to get the gentle treatment Bergdahl got from the Taliban. ISIS will go for beheading videos as recruiting tools.
You don't even want to
the whole thing's a mess.
Ralph,
it's an absolute mess.
If we don't do anything, and if ISIS continues on the move, where do they go next? Why should we believe they'll be satisfied with their caliphate in Syria and Iraq?
Well, they won't be, and that's a very important point you raised, Megan. Their dream is of a universal caliphate, and they will push on. It will certainly push on into Jordan. It will push into Lebanon. They'll continue to try to expand, but the grim poetic justice here is that the financiers from ISIS really have come from the Gulf states and from Saudi Arabia. And they've thought that they could buy their way off, be safe by funding it. But as everybody always finds out who tries to deal with terrorist organizations, it's like having a pet cobra. It turns on you eventually. And I'm afraid that regrettably, if we don't act, it's going to be a disaster. And here's the bottom line on all of this, When the United States is powerful and strong, the world complains. But when the United States is weak, the world suffers.
Ralph Peters, thanks for being here.